Yes, good evening, everybody. Today we'll be doing the revision of first unit. So, first unit is basically combined footings and retaining walls. So, so basically, what is a footing? Footing is a part of the structure that transfers the load from superstructure to subsoil safely. Basically, the load from the roof or the slab comes onto the beams, and from the beams to the columns, and from the columns to the footings, you can say. So footing is a very important structure which has to be designed properly. Okay, now what is a combined footing? Basically, because we'll be dealing with combined footing, a footing supporting more than a single column is called as a combined footing. Okay, a single column is called as a footing which supports a single column is called as isolated footing, whereas more than a single column is called as a combined footing. Okay, so what are the conditions under which a combined footing is provided? It when soils have very low bearing capacity, like soils don't have strong bearing capacity, at those places also we go for combined footing. And when columns are so closely spaced that isolated footing may overlap, sometimes the columns are spaced very closely, and there are chances of the footings overlapping. So at that under that condition we go for combined footing, we provide combined footing. And third is when the soil is not uniform and unequal settlements may occur. Sometimes the soil properties might be different at a single place also. The soil properties may be different, so that even this is a condition where we provide combined footing. And the fourth, you can see when the columns are located along the periphery of the building and cannot be extended one or two sides beyond the property line. Basically, the columns are placed on our boundary line, so at that place also we provide combined footing. So these are the conditions under which combined footing is provided. We'll see the steps under what the combined footing is provided. Yeah, you can see here the geometry of the footing. The geometry of the footing base should be so selected. The centroid of the footing area coincides with the resulting of columns, loads, including moments. So basically, this is a very important point here. The centroid of the footing area should coincide with the column loads, the resultant of column loads, including moments. So both of these should coincide. So this is a very important problem. Inshallah, you all will understand it later when we will be doing a problem. Okay, this will result in uniform distribution of soil pressure, which is desirable to avoid possible tilting of footing. So because of this, there won't be tilting of footing if this is placed properly, or the centroid and the resultant of column loads coincide. Okay, the shape of the footings may be rectangle or trapezoidal depending on the relative magnitude of loads on the two columns which the footing supports. So basically we have two types of combined footings, it is rectangle and trapezoidal footing. So rectangle footing, it depends on the load coming onto it, and even these conditions where the columns are placed onto the boundary line. Like in rectangular footings, the width of the footing is restricted, whereas in trapezoidal footing the length is restricted. Inshallah, you all might see it further when we deal with the problem. Okay, let's move further. We can just see here, just have a look at this, what are this, and we'll move further. Okay, and here you can see this. Basically what was being told is the resultant of the loads should coincide with the centroid. With this is the footing. You can see the top view from here, and this is the front view. So top view, this resultant load should coincide with the centroid of the footing. That is what is being said. So here the diagram will be like this, shear force diagram. This is point of counterflexure where shear force becomes 0. This is the point where we'll find the moment here. Okay, there will be three places where we'll find the moment. So one place will be at the face of the column, and one will be at the between the two columns, that is at the place where the shear force becomes 0. At this place also you can see here. So this place also we'll just see with the problem, inshallah. Okay, now you can see the design steps. You can just see the design steps for combined footing with equal loads. You can first what we have to do is find the total loads on the footing by assuming 10% self weight of footing. Okay, total weight is WT is equal to W1 is load on one column, W2 is load on other column, and 10% of both of these loads. That is total weight. Okay, find the area of the footing. Area is equal to WT SBC. Okay, this SBC will be given in the problem. Okay, the bearing capacity of the soil will be given in the problem. Okay, and decide the dimension. Depending on this area, we'll be deciding L and B. Now find the net upward pressure intensity. You can see here W net upward pressure intensity is W1 plus W2 by area. Okay, find the bending moment at the face of the column and at the midpoint between the two columns, as well as at the transverse portion. Also we'll find the bending moment at the third point. Also three places: at the face of the column, at the midpoint between the two columns, as well as the transverse portion. Okay, find fifth is find the depth of the footing considering higher moment, and find the area of steel. Okay, we'll take the highest moment between the three and we'll find out the moment. From there we can get the area of steel for all the three places where we have found the moment. So these are the 5 steps you can see here. Okay, let's move further here. Next step, you can see check for one way shear and check for two way shear. These are two checks which we'll have to deal with. These two checks we'll have to see: check for one way shear and check for two way shear. Now you can just see the problem here. Design a combined rectangular footing for two RCC columns carrying axial load of 1000 kilonewton each. Here the loads are equal loads. We don't have unequal loads. Unequal loads will be two different loads on two different columns. The loads might be different on each column. So here we have equal loads. These columns are separated by a distance of 3 meters center to center. The center to center distance is 3 meters. Okay, width of the footing is restricted to 2 meters. As I had told you, in a rectangular footing the width is restricted, whereas in trapezoidal footing the length is restricted. By this way you can find out what type of footing the problem wants you to know, like what type of footing you have to find out or you have to design. Depending on this question, width of the footing is restricted to 2 meters. Okay, the safe bearing capacity of soil is 200 kilonewton per meter square. Safe bearing capacity has been given. Draw neat sketches showing reinforcement details. Okay, fine. We have load on each column. We have center to center distance. The width is restricted. B we have as 2 meters, and safe bearing capacity of soil is 200 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, let's see. A given data is L is equal to 3 meters center to center. B, as I had told you, it has given as 2 meters. We'll have to find out the L. Okay, B is restricted. L we will have to find. Adopting M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. We are adopting these two things which has not been given here. Okay, so first step is what we'll have to do is WT we have to find out. So W1 is 1000 kilonewton, W2 is also 1000 kilonewton. So WT, you can see here 2.2 into 1022, as 10% of this is also taken. You can just see here W1 plus W2 will be 2000. 10% of 2000 is 200. So 2200 is the total weight 2200 kilonewton. SBC has been given. Okay, this is a step 1. We are finished with the step 1. Let's move further and check out the other steps. Okay, here you can see you can just see here area of footing is WT, as I told you, by SBC. WT by SBC. So 2200 by 200 is 11 meter square. We have got the area as this. Area is 11 meter square. So B is given to us. We know the area is 11. We can find out L. So L is equal to A by B, that is 11 by 2 is equal to 5.5. Now we have got the dimensions. We have got the length as 5.5 and breadth as 2. L and B we have got now. So you can just see this figure here. 5.5 is the length and 2 is the width. Okay, fine. Center to center distance is 3 meters. Center to distance from the columns. Center to center from the columns. Okay, this is A1. After the rest of the projection is A1 here and A2 here. Okay, fine. Now net upward pressure intensity we'll find out. W is equal to W1 plus NUPI is W1 plus W2 by A. So W1 plus W2 is 2000. Area is 11. We have got the area here. You can see here area is 11. Just that has been put here. Okay, so 181.82 kilonewton per meter square. The pressure intensity is for 1 meter wide footing. the net upward pressure intensity for 2 meter wide footing will be 181.82 into 2. We'll just see here, you can just see this point here. The net upward pressure intensity, we got it as 181.82, but that is only for unit width. Here our width is 2 meters. We'll just multiply it with 2 and we have got it as 363.64 kilonewton per meter. Okay, now this we have already got the net upward pressure intensity. We want to see this projection. What is this projection? A1 and A2, we want to see these projections. So that is simple. As the whole length is 5.5, after removing the center to center distance, that should be divided, the rest of the distance should be divided between A1 and A2. You can see here A1 is equal to A2 is equal to 5.5 is the length, total length, minus 3 is the center to center distance by 2. So 1.25, A1 is 1.25 and A2 is 1.25. Here you can just see this here. It is simple. For unequal loads you will have a little bit a small change in it. So here we have equal loads here. Okay, fine. We have got all the dimensions here. We know what is A1, we know center to center distance, we know A2, we know length and breadth. Okay, let's find out the bending moment. Now the bending moment calculation we'll have to do. The next step is bending moment. So bending moment we'll find out at these places, calculating cantilever projection from face of the column. Now face of the column we'll have to know. Now what is face of the column is, basically you can just see this part is the face of the column, this part. Now we have this A1 from this boundary line to center of the column, but I want from here. So if this size of my column is known, if I remove this half size of the column, I'll get the face of the column. Okay, just see here. So what I'll do is calculating cantilever projection. I'm seeing what is this projection I want to see. I know A1, but A1 is from till the center of the column. So what I am doing, assuming size of column as 300 into 300. So I am taking the size of column. This is 300 like this and this is 300 like this. Okay, just I'll write it down. This is 300 and this part is also 300. Okay, now my A1 is till the center of the column. Okay, center of the column. So what I am doing is 1.25 A1 I have got minus of half of the size of column in meters. This is 300 mm, 300 mm. You can just see here 300 into 300 mm this is. Okay, so half of that will be 0.15 meter. I have just removed it. So this projection face of the column I have got it as 1.5 meter, 1.1 meter. Okay, I have just removed this. 0.15 is, what is it, 300 is 0.3 meter. Half of that is 0.15. So this projection is 1.1. Hope you have understood till here. This is just simple calculations. Hope you have understood till here. Okay, let's move further and see what are the next steps we'll have to do. Okay, see, now we know the face of the column. I'm finding out the moment for this. So what is this? 1.5 is the factor of safety. I'm directly multiplying it, and this is NUPI is 363.64 into 1.1. just now I've got this value as at the face of the column, cantilever part, face of 1.1 square by 2. Okay, so that is 330 kilonewton meter, 330 kilonewton meter. Okay, fine. So as I had told you, we have to find out the moment at three places. One is at the cantilever part, and when is at the central part where the shear force becomes 0, and third is at the transverse part. So first part we have found out at the face of the column. Second part is hogging bending moment between two ends, that is at the center. Okay, now what is that? You can just see here. Now what is that? You can just see here. As you can see, we have to find out at this center. Okay, that this center. So what is this 1000 into 3 by 2? See, 1000 is the load. I'll just turn this page here. So basically I want to find out at the center. So 1000 into center, how much is the center between the between this? You can just see, between this you can just see here, what is it, the center to center distance is 3 meters. So the center will be 1.5, 1000 into 1.5. This is what this is 1000 into 3 by 2 into 1.5 minus of NUPI 363.63 into 2.75 square by 2. 2.75 square, what is it, how did you get it, is from the center I am seeing it 1.5 plus 1.25. From this end I am seeing, from this end, okay, from this end I am seeing 1.25 face of the column, as we got A1 projection, and this is 1.5, that is 2.75 square. Okay, hogging is 187.3 kilonewton meter. This is, we are applying factor of safety of 1.5. Transverse portion, as I told you, this portion is transverse portion. Transverse portion is this portion, that is 2 minus 0.3 by 2. 2 is the width, 2 is the width. From that, this column size I am removing, column size. After removing the column size, this part and this part will be left. Okay, that is 0.85 here and 0.85 here. If you do plus 0.3 you do, it will come to 2 only. Okay, so transverse part 1.5 into 363.64 into 0.